Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSC back again with LEGO Transformers G1 Megatron. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of G1 Megatron. I think he's one of the weakest G1 designs and just doesn't have the same iconic energy as characters like Optimus or Starscream. But despite my personal distaste for G1 Megatron, I've always been interested in building the design in LEGO. Translating his gun alt mode into a well-proportioned robot presents some major challenges, and that's always been the appeal to building him for me. This is now my third go at trying to figure out Megs at this scale, and I think this time I finally got it. My first G1 Megatron was actually one of the first mocks I ordered parts for from Bricklink, and it was a disaster. I designed him piece by piece, and once I had all the parts to actually build him in full, nothing worked, and he ended up crumbling under his own weight. My second attempt at Megatron was more successful, but in retrospect, it was just completely ugly. He had really weak proportions in both modes, and a massive backpack in robot mode. But that's enough backstory, now we can actually look at my new Megatron. While I didn't aim for one-to-one accuracy, I think Megatron's gun mode looks pretty great here. Both sides look mostly the same, with only some subtle differences between the chest plate and the back. It was important to me that the gun handle was 4 studs wide, as I felt anything thicker would be too unwieldy. In the end, the handle is just about small enough that I can more or less comfortably hold it. There are some unfortunate imperfections on the very back of the gun. The rear of the handle is hollow, and you can see some colorful robot details on the back. For accessories, I've built Megatron's stock and silencer, which can connect to the gun easily. The stock simply studs into the back of the handle, while the barrel has to be removed for the silencer to be added. The silencer is very long and heavy and causes the gun to droop, so I built this simple little stand to help keep it up. That's all there is to say about gun mode, so now it's time to transform. Megatron's transformation is pretty complex and finicky. However, I think it's worth it for how great he looks in robot mode. I began designing Megatron with the legs. Like I mentioned earlier, it was important to me that the handle was appropriately thin in gun mode, so I knew I'd have to find some way to have the legs become thicker during transformation. I have to credit Joshua C. for the technique I used to have the shoulder flip over to the other side. He came up with that trick years ago, and it's just a genius and efficient way to have Megatron's arms work. I'll link his Megatron in the description, you should definitely check it out. Speaking of the shoulders, they are the one major thing I'm not very happy with in this mode. They sit a little low and kinda mess with his proportions. I don't hate how it looks, but it's not very accurate. If I do a version 2, that's definitely something I want to look into improving, but as of now, I couldn't find a way to fix it that I was happy with. Turning him around, you can see that he has a bit of a backpack, but I don't think it's anything major. I'm really happy with the head design I was able to come up with. It captures his bucket head shape, and I think it has an appropriately villainous look to it. I also decided to buy extra parts to make a second head in Marvel Comics style black. For a size comparison, Megs is a hair taller than Prime, which means he's considerably larger than his second-in-command Starscream and towers over Autobot cars. In this mode, his stock and silencer can transform and combine with his fusion cannon to form a giant turret that he can man. Megatron was a really challenging and fun build to figure out. While he is a bit more fragile and fiddlier than my other G1 bots, I think it's well worth it for how great he looks. He stands tall and proud in robot mode, and looks appropriately villainous. Now that I've finally built Megatron, there's just one G1 Decepticon left. Or I guess 6 if you count cassettes. But that's for later, so I'll see you next time.